சகோதரர்களுக்கும் என் அன்பு கனிந்த வணக்கத்தை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். அன்பர்களே, முதன்மையாக உங்களுக்கு என்னுடைய இன்னியை தமிழ் புத்தாண்டு நல்வாழ்த்துகள். Dear elders, family, friends, relatives, I'm going to continue this whole presentation in English. So I have to start reading in Thamo. Yeah, you know, these Thamos on the steps of the Panchangam are very, very intricate. So even sometimes I find it difficult trying to fathom the depthness or the meaning of these sayings in the Panchangam. So I'm going to do it in English. I've taken, if I have to read this whole Panchangam, it will take me like about 3 hours. But nevertheless, I've broken it down. I've taken the main points which I am going to be talking about this evening. Puttandu. What does Puttandu means? It's two Tamil words that we fuse together. Pudu means new. Andu means a year. Dear family and friends, relatives, unlike the past 5 or so years, whenever I had to read or decipher the Panchangam at various venues, those past 5 or 6 years ago, for the past 5 or 6 years, I only projected doom and gloom. This year presents us with a very, very favorable amount of challenges. In other words, things are looking so much more favorable in comparison to the past 5 or 6 years. These Tamil years are coupled in a group of 60s. In other words, every 60 years, you would find that this year would repeat itself. If one looks back, and I can remember clearly, 60 years ago, 1965, 1966, and we compare it with what's projected in the Panchangam, they're very, very similar. There was boom, there was drive towards new technology, and within the space of about 3 years after the Panchangam came out, man landed on the moon. So the technology was there, it was rife, and of course, also in this current year as well, technology is going to be a very, very favorable issue. This year is referred to as Viswavasu. It's in the Kali Yugam, year 5126. The New Year's administration, in other words, like the way we have a government, when the New Year presents itself, we also have people that are going to be running the New Year. And if you look at the New Year, it's being governed by the Navagrahams, or the 9 planets, as usual. And I will just go through a few portfolios that each one of the Navagrahas are going to be occupying. The ruler or the king or the Raja is Surya Bhagavan. The minister, chief minister, is Chandiran, the moon. The commander-in-chief of the army is Surya Bhagavan. So you look in all these good aspects. Surya Bhagavan, how do we rate Surya Bhagavan? Whenever we wait for Surya Bhagavan to rise every morning, as he rises, he brings in light into our lives. Okay. So likewise, in this current year, Surya Bhagavan is going to do the very, very same thing, whereby he's going to bring light into our lives. Some of the predictions. Okay, before I deal with the predictions, I must just mention a few things. All these predictions come from the Panchangam. This is the Panchangam. What does a Panchangam mean? Panch means 5. Angam means elements or limbs. The Panchangam has 5 limbs. The first one is Tidi, that is the lunar day, which is the period between the 2 consecutive moons, that is the Amavasi and the Paurnami. Then we have the Vara. The Vara represents the day of the week, which is based on the sun, moon, and the 5 major planets. In this particular case, we will have Surya Bhagavan, which is Nyayaru, that is Sunday. Then we have the moon, which is Tingal on Monday. And then we have Savai, which is the planet Mars on Tuesday. Then we have Buddhan, Mercury on Wednesday. Then we have Viyaran or Guru Bhagwan or Jupiter on Thursday. And then of course on Friday we have Valaitham, which is Venus. That's how the name of the days on a 7-day week are shown. The third item is what we refer to as a nakshatra. The nakshatra indicates the lunar position of the moon in its 27 mansions, lunar mansions. Around the earth, we have spots indicated whereby we have 27 lunar mansions. In whichever mansion that moon is sitting at that point in time, we look at any event that happened in that period of time. The first thing we look is for the nakshatra. And that nakshatra will tell us a whole lot of history about you. It will tell us a whole lot of history about the events that are going to be taking place as well. The fourth one is yoga. It's a special astrological influence of the combination of the moon and the sun's movements. And the fifth one is karna. It's half a lunar day, which totals to 11 days. I am not going to deal with some of the predictions that are based in the new year. Bear in mind, I've only got 10 minutes, so I'm going to try and give it to you as in very, very unit forms as well, please. It is said in this current year, we will have good rains, excellent rains, which will result in good crops, food in abundance. We will have favorable leadership. If Surya is leading us into the new year, then obviously throughout the universe we will find very, very favorable leadership, which will enhance the way that we live. Technological advancements, like I said earlier on, in the 60s, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, we had a lot of technological advancement whereby man has even landed on the moon. Likewise, during this current year, from now on, moving forward for the next 3 or 4 years, I would see lots of technological advancements being made. New military missiles will be developed. Expansions of the military might and muscle of each country will grow. Imports and exports will increase. Imports and exports will tend to become more expensive, and the ways and means to grow and create in-house would be the way to go. In other words, buy local. That is the way to go. Buy local. Each country will emphasize that. Buy local, produce locally, and use up local made goods. War and warlike situations, which is there at this point in time, will increase in addition to what we currently have. People will tend to embrace spiritual upliftment. During this period of time, we will also see that there is certain thing that is missing in our life. That spiritual upliftment is missing in our life. We will try and embrace that, and we will try to enhance that to get to the maximum levels possible. Natural disasters, earthquakes, volcanics, tsunamis, rising sea levels, and of course will be very, very evident during the course of the year. I think it's already happening. We have been seeing lots of seismic action that has been taking place in the past week or two, and I think that all builds up into the new year as well. Constant change in government heads and management of new portfolios will lead to better development. In other words, we will have people that are more fit, occupying portfolios that they can actually enhance. In other words, you're not going to get somebody that has been working in the agricultural field trying to control your finances. It doesn't work. There's no match. We'll look for a financial man to try and control our finances. People that are known, they have the ability, they have the knowledge to do the things that they have been entrusted to do. Internal and government conflicts will increase. Internal, I mean personal. In other words, you will have your issues with your families, you will have your issues with your friends, you will have your issues with your neighbors, but that shouldn't stop you. That shouldn't stop you from saying to yourself, I had an issue with this guy, I must tell my face that way whenever I see him. It doesn't work that way. You confront the issues, make it manageable. Make it manageable. We are living in a very, very conflicting age right at this point in time, whereby we tend to make enemies more easily than we make friends. So what the year is saying to us, this can be turned around. This can be turned around. Women, ladies, will be given priority in life.
Thank you.
That's a big plus. That's a big plus. We will find females being elevated to that position because they are capable. They are capable. When I look at my mother, although she was not educated, for what she did for me and the rest of the family is something that nobody else could do today. We cannot. We cannot. There is also a new blood virus that's going to start making its rounds. Right, so that's one of the things that's there. And of course, attacks from insect species may lead to viruses which will result in deaths. There will be a downtrend in the fiscal world. There will be a downtrend in the fiscal world. But we must take the initiative. We must take the initiative to treat these as personal challenges in life. Do your homework, invest wisely. If you're going into business, invest wisely, do your homework, make sure you're working in the right path, because also coupled with that initiative that we have been granted, whereby we will flourish, we will develop, we will prosper. There is also, be wary of cyber crimes and be wary of getting caught up in debt traps. Debt traps, you know what debt traps is? Credit cards, please. Be careful of that. Be careful of that. Debt traps are there are certain debt traps that may look very, very lucrative. And I appeal to you, please, try and move away from getting caught up in those debt traps. Otherwise, the year is a beautiful year. You cannot ask for a better year. Like I said, for the past 5 or 6 years, I've been, prophesizing gloom and doom every year that comes up. But this year I came up to this podium and I'm saying to you, I've come here with a bright smile on my face, and I'm telling you, this year is all about prosperity. That's what this year means. It's all about prosperity. Dear family, friends, relatives, I want to take this opportunity of wishing you a joyous, blissful, peaceful, happy and prosperous New Year. Nandri, vanakkam.